from 2 enrolments to 53 in 30 days. 2 enrolments per month, that's where my RTO client was stuck. They had leads coming in, they had good courses, but something was broken in the middle. 30 days after we fixed it, they hit 53 enrolments. Same leads, same courses, different system. Most RTOs think their enrolment problem is a marketing problem. More ads, better landing pages, cheaper cost per lead. But my client wasn't generating 2 leads per month. They were generating hundreds. The breakdown was happening after the leads came in. I'm going to walk you through exactly what was broken, how we diagnosed it, and what changed to take them from 2 enrolments to 53 in the first month. This is a $212,000 case study with real numbers from a real client. My client is a family-run RTO offering training across multiple fields. They've got marketing, IT, cybersecurity for forklift operations, and they help people build better futures for themselves and their families. Good mission, good courses, and a great reputation. They were stuck at 2 to 3 enrolments per month. When the CEO reached out, she said, "We're getting leads, but they're not converting. Something's not working." When we audited their system, the problem wasn't the leads. It wasn't the courses. It wasn't even the sales team. The problem was happening between the lead coming in and the first conversation. There were 3 breakdowns. First, no systematic follow-up. Leads would come in, maybe they'd call once, maybe they'd send an email, but there was no consistent system. If the lead didn't answer on the first call, they'd fall through the cracks. Connection rate 10%. That means 90 out of 100 leads never even got to a conversation. Second, everything was manual. Someone had to remember to follow up, someone had to remember to send the email, and someone had to remember to make the second call. When it's manual, it doesn't happen consistently. And when it doesn't happen consistently, enrolments just don't happen. Third, no engagement between calls. Between the first call and the follow-up call, nothing. No emails, no texts, no reminders. The lead would even forget they'd inquired. By the time someone followed up, they'd moved on to another RTO or lost interest. Here's what's interesting. When we showed them the system they were going to deploy, multiple calls, multiple emails, and multiple texts over weeks, my client's team got scared, and their feedback was, "It's too much. People will get annoyed, will look desperate." They were worried about being perceived as pushy. We deployed what we call the Student Convert platform system, and it's not just automation, it's systematic engagement designed to move leads through a journey from inquiry to enrolment, without the RTO team actually having to manually manage every touch point. The first change was automating the multi-touch point follow-up. Instead of one call and hoping for the best, we built a sequence. Email confirmation immediately, a voicemail drop 30 seconds after the email, and then a text message 1 minute later with the RTO's contact info. A call within 5 minutes of inquiry, a second call 2 hours later if no answer, and a third call the next day. Email sequences, SMS reminders, this all happens automatically, consistently for every single lead, and it happens religiously for weeks. The goal? Move connection rate from 10% to 60%. Get 60 out of 100 leads into an actual conversation instead of 10. The second change was engagement between the touch points. Between the calls, we kept them warm. Educational emails about the course, success stories from past students, and reminders about government funding, course start dates, and the best part, the leads stayed engaged with my client's RTO even when they weren't on the phone. This reinforced my client's RTO as the preferred choice. By the time someone answered the phone, they'd already received 3 to 5 touch points, sometimes 8 to 12, but they knew who this RTO was. They felt familiar. The third change was tracking and optimization. Everything was tracked. Which emails got opened, which calls connected, which SMS messages got responses. We could see where leads were getting stuck and adjust in real time. If email 3 wasn't working, we changed it. If calls at 2 p.m. had better connection rates then calls at 10 a.m., we shifted the timing. Remember, the team was worried this would be too much. Here's what actually happened. Response rates shot up. People started saying, thanks for following me up. I've been meaning to call you back. It turns out when you're helpful and persistent, not pushy, people really appreciate it. 30 days after we implemented the Student Convert system, my client went from 2 to 3 enrolments to 53 enrolments. Same lead volume, same courses, same team, just a different system. 53 enrolments at an average course value of $4,000 equals $212,000 in additional revenue in the first month. Not projected revenue, we're talking actual enrolments. And I have to share with you, my client told me on our next meeting that she actually had to remind her team that whatever they're doing, it's working. And she was actually really excited because then that spurred on a million ideas. She said, now I've got a million ideas. That's what happens when you remove the bottleneck. The CEO stops firefighting and starts being able to think strategically. Connection rate went from 10% to 60%. That's the lever. When you connect with 60 out of 100 leads instead of 10, and your conversion rate stays the same, you go from 2 enrolments to 12 enrolments per 100 leads. That's a 6 times increase just from better follow-up. It compounds. Better engagement means better close rates. Better close rates means more testimonials. More testimonials means better conversion on the following course inquiries that come in to your education business. By month 3, they weren't just enrolling more students, they were enrolling better fit students who completed courses. Most RTOs are focused on lead generation, more ads, lower cost per lead. But if you're only connecting with 10% of your leads, you're wasting 90% of your ad spend. Fix the follow-up system first, then scale your ads. Here's the before and after. Before, 100 leads, 10% connection rate, which is 10 conversations, 20% conversion rate, which is 2 enrolments, $8,000. After, 100 leads, same as before, 60% connection rate, which is 60 conversations, 20% conversion rate, which is 12 enrolments, $48,000 in revenue. The difference, $40,000 per 100 leads. If you're generating 500 leads a month, that's $200,000 in additional monthly revenue just from fixing follow-up. If you're stuck with enrolment numbers, despite a decent lead volume, the problem probably isn't your marketing, it's what happens after the lead comes in. First, what percentage of your leads are you actually converting with? Second, what happens between the first call and the follow-up? Third, how many touch points does a lead get before you give up? My client's business wasn't broken, they just didn't have a system. Once they had one, enrolments jumped 2,400% in 30 days. I mean, that's huge, and it's not a miracle. That's what happens when you systematically engage every lead instead of hoping they'll call you back or relying on your people to chase them. If you're running an RTO and you're getting leads but they're not converting, we can audit your current system and show you exactly where the bottleneck is. Sometimes it's follow-up, sometimes it's the completion rate, sometimes it's both. But until you know what's broken, you're just guessing. You don't need more leads. You need a better system for the leads you already have. My client proved that. 2 enrolments to 53 in 30 days. Same leads, different system. Visit studentconvert.com.au to schedule a discovery call. We'll analyse your current enrolment process and model your opportunity cost, just like we did for the client we're speaking about today.